Well, thank you, Laurie, for your kind introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Can I start by thanking you for attending this lunch event and thank on your behalf QED for organising it. Online gambling is a controversial subject. An opinion on this subject is not just split between political groups, it transcends traditional positions and splits the political groups themselves. It also splits political parties. I'm a British Conservative, and you will find within my party and my group a division of opinion between those that take, shall we say, the free market, the importance of the internal market approach, against those that believe that subsidiarity and the right of nation states to decide how they regulate their markets, that should take precedence. Subsidiarity is normally a subject which you'd find the conservative groups championing. But of course, on this particular subject, you find many other groups and countries all of a sudden finding it important to assert the right of the nation state to govern its own affairs. It normally comes from countries that have an interest in protecting the tax take of a natural monopoly on gambling. I suspect there's a relationship between those two issues. And this issue also splits the European Council and the member states. But what we have seen over the last few years, and you referred to this, is a mellowing of attitudes towards online gambling over the past few years. Previously abandoned infringement cases are now being followed up by the European Commission. In my view, it was a grave error of the Commission to take no action on those infringement cases for so long. What it showed was that the rule of law does not prevail if the Commission deems it convenient not to pursue those cases. So I'm glad that very belatedly Monsieur Barnier is enforcing those cases. I do wonder if his decision to push forward is in any way related to the fact the French government have now introduced a licensing regime. Member states that used to ban online gambling are now liberalising their national regimes and bringing in varying types of licensing systems. And I think we've also seen a change of attitude within the Parliament. Look at the language used, as you demonstrated in the Charles de Mose report, and see how that's changed to the language used in the Kreutzmann report. And I hope you'll see a further change in the language that my report uses. That, I hope, will continue that progress. I firmly believe in a well-regulated sector and, more importantly, a safe, viable and attractive offer for our consumers across the EU. I'm in no doubt that if countries ban online gambling, or if they put in place an offer to consumers that is so unattractive because it's restrictive or uncompetitive, then consumers will go elsewhere. So I believe the way forward is a well-regulated sector. I hope one thing that all parliamentarians will be able to agree on is that we should be protecting consumers and ensure we fight against illegal operators from outside the EU. But that will not be possible if within certain member states there is an unattractive consumer offer. Tomorrow I will formally present my report to the IMCO committee, though I suspect it's widely leaked everywhere, as everything does in Europe. As with all own initiative reports, it is very brief. I don't know how many of you are aware that we're only allowed 6,000 characters in writing our report. So it really is a very thin piece of paper. In fact, my office had a bit of a shock when we submitted it to translation. It was deemed to be a couple of thousand characters too large. So the night before the deadline, we were having to cut pieces out. But you'll be glad to know that we can just put them back in the form of amendments. Now, Laurie, you identified the 5 themes identified by the European Commission. It won't surprise you to learn that my report follows those 5 main themes. Compliance with EU law. Well, compliance with EU law is a very good thing, and I'm glad that the Commission is starting to enforce it. But they need a little more muscle, and they need to be a little more vigorous with member states who are clearly not obeying the law. Administrative cooperation. Although this sounds rather dull, I think it can ensure that we have a better offer for consumers. If, for example, there were similar technical standards across Europe that online gambling companies had to adhere to, then that would reduce their costs and it would result in a better offer to consumers. I focus on consumer protection, the prevention of money laundering, and also the integrity of sports. So after the first exchange of views within the committee, it was clear that the main concern of MEPs is consumer protection and compliance with EU law, and therefore the bulk of my report focuses on these 2 areas. I look forward to hearing from colleagues today, and I look forward to your questions in the hope that their knowledge will add to the debate within the Parliament. Thank you very much.